सत्सङ्गत्वे निस्सङ्गत्वं निस्सङ्गत्वे निर्मोहत्वं निर्मोहत्वे निश्चलतत्वं निश्चलतत्वे जीवन्मुक्तिः पुनरपि जननं पुनरपि मरणं पुनरपि जननी जठरे शयनम् इह संसारे बहुदुस्तारे कृपया पारे पाहि मुरा.
We are starting now. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Narayana Paro Vyakta Dandam Avyakta Sambhavam Andasyantastume Loka Saptadvipacha Medini Itam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetramiktabhidiyate Etadyo Vettitam Prahu Kshetragna iti tadvidaha. So here in the 13th chapter, we are now entering into the teaching about the Kshetrajna, that is Brahman, the knowledge of which alone will lead to liberation. So the verse is like this: Jneyam yattat pravakshyami yajñātva amritamashnute anādimat param brahma nasattan nasaduchyate. The meaning is Jneyam, that is the Kshetrajna, that is to be known here as the means for liberation, that I am going to tell you, and he gives a succinct description of it. Anadimat Param Brahma Nasattan Nasajichyate. It is Anadi, that this Param Brahma is Anadi, Anadimat, that is, it doesn't have a beginning at all, that is, it doesn't have a cause at all. So that is Brahman. And also he adds one more very important epithet, Nasattan Nasaduchyate. What it means is, it cannot be spoken of as existing or non-existing. So this is the description he gives, and based on this description, that is Nasattan Nasaduchyate, there's going to be a big. What it means is, Brahman cannot be stated to be existent, nor can it be stated to be non-existent. So this is very puzzling. So some question answers will be taken up now, so in order to determine the meaning of that statement. Ano mahata parikarabandhena kantaravena udrutya udkushya Jneyam yattat pravakshami iti anarupamuktam nasattan nasaduchyate iti. So the question is, with lot of great noise, you have stated that you are going to talk about this Jneyam Brahma, that is Brahman, and you said that you are going to tell about it. That is Jneyam tat pravakshami. Pravakshami is, I am going to talk about it, or I am going to describe it. But then, after making that claim, you have also said that it cannot be stated to be existent and non-existent. This is something contradictory. That is the idea. So this Vedantin replies, Na, anurupameva uktam. No, there is no contradictory. What has been stated as Nasattan Nasajitviche is quite in accordance with the claim that Brahman is going to be spoken about. How is it not a contradictory? Katham. Sarvasu hi Upanishatsu Jneyam Brahma Neti Neti Astolam Anano Ityadi Vishesha Pratishedhenaiva Nirdishyate Na Idam Taditi Vachaha Agosaratvat. He is now making a very succinct justification as to why this is not a contradiction. He says, in all the Upanishads, this Brahman that is going to be, that is required to be known or realized as means for liberation is taught as neti neti, not this, not this. That means whatever you encounter in the world is not Brahman, because whatever we are encountering in the world is the product of avidya, that is our maya, which is appearing as the Panchabhautika Prapancha. So that is not Brahman. That's what these Upanishads are saying. Neti neti, and then this is one method. Another method is Astholam Anano. That is, it is not gross, it is not subtle, it is not long, it is not short, that way. So Astholam Anano. These are the two passages from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Some such things are available in other Upanishads also. So here he is giving only two samples. Ityadi Vishesha Pratishedhenaiva. What it means is, the attributes or the specific attributes that are available to us in all objects like Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, long, short, fat, thin, and all that. Those kind of descriptions are denied in Brahman. So whatever is created and whatever is we are encountering through our senses is having all these attributes like fat, short, black, white, and all that. But then Brahman is not that way. So the Upanishads are denying all these things in Brahman. Nirdishyate na idam tatiti. So it is showing Brahman as not such a thing, and it does not show Brahman as this is thus. So idam tatiti na uchyate. Why is it so? Vachaha agocharatvat. Because Brahman is not an object for speech. So only those objects which can be spoken of can be taught through words. But then Brahman is something which cannot be spoken of in words, so it cannot be taught through words also. But then the problem is we have the Veda, which is an embodiment of words only. It's all full words only, Vangmaya, and that is the only means for us to know Brahman. So how this contradiction can be settled? So all those things will be taken up in the sequel. So now the question is, after the Siddhanta has said that Brahman cannot be spoken of as through words as existent and non-existent because it is not an object of words at all, then the question arises, nano na tadasti stu asti shabdena nochyate. Atha asti shabdena nochyate nasi tat gneyam. So the question is, something is, if it is said that it is not there, such a thing is not there at all, really. So it is na tadasti yad vastu asti shabdena nochyate. If an object is not stated to be existent, or it is, such an object is not there at all. That is the conclusion. Atha asti shabdena nochyate nasi tat brahmeyam. So if it is not stated to be in the form of it is, then such an object is not there at all. So viprasishidham cha gneyam tat asti shabdena nochyate iti. So it's a contradiction to say that something has to be known and also that it cannot be stated to be existent. So if something is existent, then we can know it. But then if something is non-existent, or that is, if it is something cannot be stated to be it is, then how can we know it at all? So it cannot be something to be known at all. So that problem arises. Na tavan nasti buddhya vishayatvad. So for that, the Siddhanta replies that no, Brahman is cannot be stated to be non-existent, because if something has to be stated to be non-existent, then that object has to be, that will be the object of that statement called non-existent. Like, for example, if I say that the pot is not there, so then the object of that statement will be the pot. But then Brahman is not that way. So when we say that Brahman doesn't, if we say that Brahman is not something that exists, that doesn't mean that Brahman does not exist at all. So how do you differentiate between using the word, using the statement that it doesn't exist, but still affirming that such a thing is not non-existent? So this is a little kind of a logical problem. All that will be settled in the sequel. Then nanu sarvaha buddhayaha asti nasti buddhyanugataha eva. So then the question arises that all perceptions that we get, that is all knowledge that we get by interacting with the world, all that will be either an object of asti or an object of nasti buddhyanugataha eva. Tatra evam sati gneyamapi asti buddhyanugata pratyaya vishayam va syat nasti buddhyanugata pratyaya vishayam va syat. So in such a case, then this Brahman also will have to be of the an object for the statement it is, or it has to be an object for a statement it does not exist. Now, for that the Siddhanta is replying, it is not so. Atindriyatvena vaya buddhyanugata pratyaya abhishayatvat. Since Brahman is beyond senses, it cannot be stated to be the object of both kinds of perceptions, asti and nasti. Yadi indriyagamyam vastu ghatadikam tat Asti buddhyanugata pratyaya vishayam vasyat, nasti buddhyanugata pratyaya vishayam vasyat. So here only, from this statement of the Siddhantin alone, is a very crucial statement here he's making by giving the example of a pot. We are able to know what we are able to get a sense of what is being spoken of here. So here the very simple example is given by Bhagavad Pada. He says, take the case of a pot. Before the pot came into existence, that is, before the pot was manufactured, we were saying that the pot didn't exist. After it was manufactured, we say that the pot is or the pot exists. And when the pot is destroyed, then no longer can we say that the pot exists. We will have to say that pot doesn't exist. So in the case of the pot, or in the case of any created object, we can use these terms, it exists and it doesn't exist. But then in the case of Brahman, these two statements cannot be made in this sense, because Brahman doesn't come into existence having been manufactured or produced, nor Brahman ceases to exist and become the object of the statement, it doesn't exist. So this is the difference. This is a crucial difference. We can easily understand this. So in all cases where the object is known through our senses, in those cases alone, we can say that we can use the statements existing and non-existing, because of this reason, as I said, after coming to existence, they become the object of the statement, it is, and when they cease to exist, after destruction, they become the object of the statement, it does not exist. So in the case of Brahman, this cannot happen at all, because Brahman doesn't come into existence and become the subject of this statement, it exists, nor does it go out of existence at all, and thereby becoming the object of the statement, nasti. So that is the statement, crucial clarification Bhagavad Gita gives and helps us to understand the question here. Idam tu gneyam atindriyatvena shabdaika pramanagamyatvat na gatadivat ubaya buddhi anugata prati vishaya ityataha na sattan na sat na asat iti uchyate. Since Brahman is beyond the senses, atindriyatvena shabdaika pramanagamyatvat. See, in the case of the objects of the senses, that is, these organs, will be able to contact the objects and give us the information or give us the knowledge that about the existence of the object or non-existence of the object. But then in the case of Brahman, since it is not an object of any sense organ, the only way we can know Brahman is through the Shabda Pramana, that is Veda. And as stated before by Bhagavad Pada, the Veda also teaches Brahman in the terms of Neti Neti and Astulam Anano, by denying the attributes. So that is the only way in which Veda also teaches. So, na gatadivate ubaya buddhi anugata pratyaya vishayam. So Brahman is not an object of these two perceptions, like existent and non-existent, because those two statements can be used only in the case of objects of senses. So Brahman, since it is not an object of any sense organ, these two statements will not convey the nature of Brahman at all. So it has been stated by Bhagavan as in a very, very logical way, and there is quite a lot of reasoning also behind it, that na sat na asadi chate. Brahman cannot be stated to be existent, nor can it be stated to be non-existent. So these two statements will very happily apply to Brahman, and what Bhagavan has stated is definitely no contradiction at all. Then the Siddhantin goes further to clarify the doubts arisen by doubts stated by the questioner. Yattu uktam viruddham uchyate nyayam tat na sattan nasut uchyate iti na viruddham. What you have stated, that it is contradiction to say that this is something to be known, that is, Brahman is something to be known, and also that it cannot be stated to be existent or non-existent. This is a contradiction. No, the Siddhantin says, Vedantin says that no, it is not a contradiction. And he gives a Vedic statement, Upanishadic statement, to substantiate his answer. Anyadeva tad vidita datho avidita dadi yen Upanishad. This statement means Brahman is distinct from what is known, and it is also distinct from what is not known. So this is a very pithy statement. which also has to be understood in the proper sense. So what it says is, in the world, in the created world also, we have two states, that is the Vyakta Prapancha, that is the manifested world that we can interact with through our senses, and the unmanifest world also is there, that is before become manifesting as the world of oceans and forests and mountains and all that. The world was in an unmanifest state, that is before the Panchabhutas even were created, it was in an unmanifest state. So the Shastra accepts two states for this created world, but one is manifested state and the other is unmanifest state. So this statement of this Kenopanishad says that Brahman is distinct from the manifest world, and also it is distinct from the unmanifest world. See, the manifest world can be grasped through our senses, whereas the unmanifest world cannot be grasped through the senses at all. So, but then still it is not non-existent. It is there definitely. From the Shastra Pramana, we understand that it is there. That manifest state is there. So this Upanishad says that Brahman is distinct from what we know from our senses, and also distinct from what we cannot know through our senses, that is the unmanifest. So, Anyadeva Tat Viditat. Viditat is something which is known, and Atha also Aviditadati. That is, it is also different from what is not known. So, we have in these Upanishads a clear statement of two states, which can be one state is known through us, through the senses, and the other state is there which cannot be known through senses. But these two states can be there, are there. So, but then Brahman is distinct from both these, because the two states spoken of here, that is the manifest state, which is a product of Panchabhutas, and the unmanifest state is also a product of the Maya only in the unmanifest state. So, these two states are definitely belonging to the creation state only, but then it is a product of Maya. These two are products of Maya, but Brahman is beyond Maya. So that is what is stated in this Upanishad. Shrutirapi Viruddhartha, it says, okay, if someone says that even this Shruti is contradicting itself, then so for that he gives an example. Yata Yajnaya Shalam Arabhya Yadi Amushmil Loke Asti Va Nava Iti Ityevam Iti Chet. So he is giving a Vedic, that is the Karmakanda statement he is giving. If a person is planning to perform a yaga, and then Yadi Amushmil Loke Asti Va Nava Iti. That is, if whether that Agni is there in this world, or it is not there. So that statement is there in the Karmakanda. So he's giving that statement to say that this is kind of a virodha. That is, it says that it is here, and it also says that it may not be here. So that is the contradiction there. So this Upanishad statement also is no different from that kind of a contradictory statement. For that, the Siddhantin says, Na vidita aviditabhyam anyatva shrutehe avashya vigneyartha pratipadana paratvate yadi amushmin ityadito vijisheshaha arthavadaha. So what the Siddhantin clarifies is, the Upanishad statement that anyadeva tad viditadato aviditadadi is not a contradiction at all, because the Upanishad itself says that vidita aviditabhyam anyatva shrutehe. From this statement, that Shruti statement, that Brahman is distinct from the known and distinct from the unknown or unknowable. Saying this Shruti is giving a very clear instruction to the seeker that you have to know this Brahman, which is distinct from the known and distinct from the unknown. So, since it is making a statement that you have to know this, definitely the Shruti is having something in mind as something knowable. It is not some non-existent thing it is talking about. That is the justification he gives. And avashya vigneyartha pratipadan paratvat. The Shruti is trying to teach us that Brahman, which is definitely needed to be known for moksha. But what statement you have cited from the Karma Yadi amushmin ityadi to vidisheshaha arthavadah. So it is only a geological statement which is there in order to enthuse a person to perform a yaga. So it is vidishesha arthavada. Arthavada is something which is stated to enthuse a person to perform that thing. So there will be an injunction, and in the close proximity of that injunction, there will be some arthavada. Like, for example, there will be a Vayaviya yaga, and in the close proximity, there is a statement that Vayurve Kshepishta Devata. Vayu is a Devata which gives fruits very quickly. So when he hears that, he will be enthused to perform this yaga. So in the same way here also, when it says that Yadi Amushmin Loke Astiva Nava, this is also a kind of arthavada to enthuse the person to perform the yaga. So, and there's a conviction also that the arthavada need not be something which is real, which has a real demonstrable meaning also. So that kind of thing is not required there. So that also is been accepted. So that is the case of the arthavada in that karma kanda. But this statement that Brahman is something distinct from the known and distinct from the unknown. This is not a case of arthavada, but this is clearly a state of injunction, where injunction in the sense you have to know this Brahman which is of this nature. Then he gives the logic also. Upapattescha sadasadari shabdaihi brahma nochate iti. So here now he is going to give a logical demonstration as to how Brahman is cannot be known through the statements existing and non-existing. So upapattescha sadasadari shabdaihi brahma nochate iti. For that he is giving a demonstration here. Sarvohi shabdaha artha prakashanaya prayuktaha च श्रोतृभिः जाति क्रिया गुण संबंध द्वारेण संकेत ग्रहण सव्यपेक्षः अर्थं प्रत्यायेति न अन्यथा adushtvatvad. So he says, in the world in all our transactions, we come across this situation always without any exception. Sarvohi shabdaha, any word that is used in transactions, artha prakashanaya prayuktaha. If a word is uttered by someone, it is with a view to indicate something. If I say pot, the word pot indicates an object pot. So artha prakashanaya, artha is object. So any word is used with a view to signify or to indicate a object, a corresponding object. Sarvohi shabdaha artha prakashanaya prayuktaha shruyamanasya shrotavihi. So when it is heard by a person, and a person hears the word, so the person who hears the word gets a clear indication of or clear meaning out of it, and he goes to know that object or to seek that object. So and all such objects will be, and any word can be used only in these conditions. The conditions are given here. Jati, kriya, guna, sambandha dvarena, sanketa grahana sabyapekshaha artham pratyayati. So jati is that genus. It belongs to a particular class. Then kriya is an action. Guna is an attribute, and sambandha is some connection, some relationship. He will demonstrate all that here now, each one of them. So indicate an object through these parameters. Na anyatha. So anywhere in the transactions, in the worldly transactions, used and a word will be heard by someone in this manner only, and not in any other manner. And he makes a very bold statement like this, and he demonstrates it also. Yatha tadyatha gauhu ashvaha itiva jatitaha. So jati, for jati he is giving the example. This is a cow or this is a horse. So the cow belongs to the genus called cowness. In Sanskrit it is called gotvam. And ashvatvam is a jati. And a particular cow will be a member of that jati. And a particular horse will be a member of that jati called ashvatva jati. So gauhu ashvaha itiva jatitaha. So through these words, whenever a word, or a human or a bird or whatever is used in the world, it indicates that it is a member of that jati. Then Pachati, patati iti va kriyataha. So here the examples for kriya, action is given. If someone is cooking, someone is reading, we can take the examples of supposing there is a person who has brought a person in his car, driving the car, and we don't know the name of the driver. We simply say that the driver has come now, or the driver is going for lunch and all that. So even though we do not know the name of the driver, the word driver conveys the meaning of that person, or the word driver indicates that particular person through his action. So pachati patati va iti kriyataha. Then shuklaha krishnaha iti va gunataha. Or we will say that the black cow has come, the stout boy has come here, like that. So by giving the attributes of the person or an object, we use such words. So these words, the word can be used through to convey a person some meaning or some object through the attributes. Shuklaha Krishnaha. Shukla is white, Krishna is black. Gunataha. Then Dhani Goman itiva Sambandataha. Sambandha is relation. So when we do not know the name of a particular very wealthy man, we say that he is an estate owner. So we connect the person to the estate that he owns. Or can be, in the olden days, they used to say, even now in the rural areas and all that, they have this statement, he is a Goman. That is, he is a person who is connected to cows. He is having lot of cows. So if the name of the person is not known, they will simply say that he is the owner of so many cows. So Goman. So here Dhani Dhanam Yasya Asti Saha Dhani. So that way, that relationship between the person and the thing that he owns. So these are the ways in which words can be used. And without, if these are not there, a word cannot be used at all. And I found out that this kind of concept is there in the Vyakarana Shastram also. Tadyatha, okay. Then Natu Brahma Jatimat. So now he is giving the contrast. In the world, we use these words, the words with respect to Jati, Kriya, Guna and Sambandha. But then Brahman is not of this nature, because Brahman doesn't belong to any Jati. So it doesn't belong to any class at all. So whenever we say there is a class, then there are many members in a class. When only one is there, there is no meaning in saying that it belongs to a class. So that is the idea here. Ataha na shabdadi sadadi shabdavachyam. So since Brahman does not belong to any jati, it cannot be an object of the word sat or asat. Nati guna yena gunashabdena uchyeta nirgunatvad. Since Brahman is nirguna, no attribute, that is without any attributes, no statement or no word can be used to indicate Brahman through the medium of an attribute. Like Brahman is stout, or Brahman is thin, and or Brahman is tall, and all that. Such things cannot be stated, because Brahman is free from any of these attributes. Api kriya shabdavachyam nishkriyatvad nishkalam nishkriyam shantam iti shrutehe. And we cannot indicate Brahman through action also, because Brahman is devoid of action. That is what the Shruti says. Nishkalam nishkriyam shantam. That is the Shveta Shutra Upanishad. It says Nishkalam doesn't have parts. It is Nishkriyam. It doesn't have any action at all, and it is always pure peace at all. Peace, total peace. And we can also derive some more logic here. Anything or any person or any object, any entity can perform any action only if that entity is endowed with parts. That is, a person can walk from here to there because he has legs. A person can think of something. A person can do some deliberation and all that if he has a mind. So only when the body-mind complex is there can any action take place. Whereas in Brahman, there is no body-mind complex at all, and it doesn't have any parts at all, like the limbs and mind and the sense organs and motor organs and all that. Brahman is not something that performs any action at all. It is Nishkriyam. So through action also we cannot indicate Brahman, like we saw in the case of a driver. But then one thing is that which we can take up and then give an explanation for that. We also say that Brahman is the cause of the world. It is Srishti, Sthiti, Samhara, Karaka. But then that is not the ultimate or true nature of Brahman or true attribute of Brahman. It is only an attribute which is superimposed on Brahman in order to help us to go closer to the concept of Brahman. So Brahman is, by courtesy, we can say, stated to be the Srishti Sthiti Laya Karakam, but then it is in true terms, it is not so. So that's something which we remember here. Then Nacha Sambandhi Ekatvad. And any sambandha can happen between only two objects, minimum two objects, but then Brahman is one alone without any second. But a question will arise, what about the world? The whole world is there and the world is manifestation of Brahman and all that. But all these things are there only in the Vyavaharika sense. But in the Paramarthika sense, Brahman is Ekam Eva Advitiyam. There is nothing apart from Brahman of any nature, any type. So since Brahman is Eka only, there is no way we can connect Brahman to relate Brahman to something else and indicate Brahman through that relationship. Like just what we saw as a wealthy person or an estate owner or a owner of cattle and things like that. So Brahman is only one. So since there is nothing apart from Brahman, they cannot connect Brahman to that particular thing, and through that connection can indicate Brahman. So that is also not possible. So Advayatvat, Avishayatvat, Atmatvacha na kenasit shabdena uchyate iti yuktam yato vacho nivartante ityadi shrutibhishcha. Beautiful conclusion is Atvat. Since Brahman is one without any second, Advaya, Avishayatvat. Since Brahman is not an object of any organ, sense organ or motor organ, then Atmatvacha. Since Brahman is the of one's own true Atman, Brahman is the Atman of everyone. Na kenachit shabdena uchyate iti yuktam. So it cannot be stated to be stated through any word at all. So this is quite logical. That's what he says, iti yuktam. Yato vacho nivartate. For that, the logic he has shown already. And he is doing a Shruti passage also for that. Yato vacho nivartante. What the Shruti says is, the walk, if we walk, when we utter a word, it will reach the object it is meant to indicate. Like, for example, when I utter the word pot, it will show the pot. That is, it has the capacity to show the pot, but then, or indicate the pot, the object pot. But then Brahman is not of nature, so the Shruti says that Yato Vacho Nivartante. If you use that word, it will simply return. It won't reach the object at all, because the Brahman is not an object at all for Vak. And what he has stated here, this Vak, this Shruti, is so apt for his thesis. That is, Brahman cannot be stated to be Sat or Asat. And all the logic we can supply here, what we have seen already, and appreciate this statement. So, Advayatvat, Avishayatvat, Atmatvatcha. And here also, there are so many nice things here. Like, for example, one can talk about anything which is not himself, not his Atman, but about himself, he cannot say anything. So that is the thing here. So that is what we can use a word to indicate something which is anatma, not the Atma, because Atma is the subject. So we can use a word in order to show a subject or in order to indicate a subject, but not the object. So that is also included here. So beautiful statement. Advayatvat, Vishayatvat, Atmatvatcha, na kenachit shabdena uchyate iti yuktam. So with this we conclude this session. There is some more, with this it is over. This shloka is over. So we will be entering into the 13th shloka in the next class. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha idam shariram kaunteya kshetramityabhidiyate etadyo vetti tam prahuhu kshetragni iti tadvidaha narayana paro vyakta dandam abhyakta sampavam andasyantastu me loka saptadvipa cha medini Shastram Sharira Mimamsa Devastu Parameshwaraha Acharya Shankaracharya Santume Janma Janmani Vidya Virya Sampannam Vitaragam Vivekinam Vande Vedanta Tatvagnam Vidushekara Bharati Om Tatsat